Hello girls, today we're going to be focusing on our glutes. We're going to do about a 30-minute workout. All you're going to need is your mat, so let's get into it. We're going to start by bringing ourselves round onto the mat, coming onto all fours. So hands are going to come underneath our shoulders and our knees are going to come underneath our hips. Now from here, we're just going to start to relax the body down as much as we can. Dropping the gaze down towards the hands. We're going to bring the fingers nice and wide on the mat, just so that we're pressing all the weight through each of those fingers. Now from here, I want you to start to relax yourselves down as much as you possibly can. Taking a big deep inhale into the nose. As you exhale, you want to start to curve the belly and spine towards the ceiling, dropping your gaze down towards your thighs. And as you inhale in, you lower the belly down, you lift the chest up, lift your gaze the whole way up towards the ceiling. Now just moving through your cat-cow as slow and as controlled as you possibly can at the start of class. Letting the body start to relax down. Starting to release any tension you may have built up through the spine throughout the entire day. And just bringing yourself into stillness for that first little part of class. Trying to really focus on those inhales and exhales like we do throughout our whole workout. These will help you massively, and if you can try to focus on them at the very start. Just here for final 5. Taking it nice and slow for 4. Final 3. Last 2. Wherever you are on the 1, you're just going to hold in stillness for 3. Final 2. And on your 1, just bringing yourself back to a nice neutral spine. Now from here, all we're going to do is bring the knees nice and wide on the mat. You're going to sit the bum back towards the heels, coming into your child's pose position. Extending the arms nice and long, and if you can, letting the arms relax heavy through the mat, letting your forehead drop down. Now from here, I want you to keep the bum sitting back against the heels as much as you can, letting the body start to relax down. Now from here, we're going to take a big deep inhale in through the nose. As we exhale, I want you to curve the belly and spine forward, lower the belly down towards the ground as you lift the gaze the whole way up, releasing all the tension through the spine. Take a big deep inhale in, and as we exhale, we sit that bum the whole way back towards those heels, back into that child's pose position to release. So it's a big deep inhale into the nose. We curve the belly and spine forward. We lower the belly down towards the floor as we lift the gaze the whole way up. Feeling that lovely release through the spine. As you exhale, we sit that bum back, bringing ourselves back to our child's pose position. Now just moving through these as slowly and as controlled as you can, letting the body start to fully relax down at the start of class. Just bringing yourself into stillness for a little second at each point before you release and lower. We're just here for final 3. Rounding the body forward as you lower the belly down. Lifting the gaze up for 2. And on your 1, taking your time as you bring yourself back to that child's pose position. Bringing yourself back in through stillness. Giving those hips a little rock from side to side. We're here for 3, for 2, and on your 1. Taking your time as you bring yourself the whole way up. So we're going to get started today by bringing ourselves onto all fours. So hands are coming underneath our shoulders, knees are coming underneath our hips. Now from here, I want you to think about lifting the belly button up towards the ceiling, keeping the core nice and strong. We're going to start with the right hand side, thinking about driving that right leg up into that donkey kick position, keeping that foot nice and flat. So try to imagine that you're holding your dinner on the top of that foot. You then lower as you release back down. So it's a big deep inhale into the nose. As we exhale, we squeeze that leg high, squeeze into that right glute, and then we lower as we release. Keeping the fingers nice and wide on the mat so that you're pressing all the weight through those fingers. You drive up through that right leg, and then you lower back down. Take it nice and slow in your own time. Getting used to the movement as controlled as you possibly can. You squeeze and you release. We're here for final 5. Big exhale, we drive up into that right glute for 4. Taking it nice and slow. You have final 3. We are going to add on a little bit more in 2. Now on your 1, if this is enough, you can stay here. If you want to add on more, you're going to hold at the top. We're going to think about extending the leg long. You're then going to bend the leg back in, then we lower and we release. So we squeeze, we lift, we hold. We extend the leg long, we bend the leg back in, and then we drop it down. So it's just more time under tension on those glutes. If that ever feels too much, you go back to that first option. Take it nice and slow, you have 10 seconds. Squeeze, you lift, you extend, you bend, and then you lower. We're here for final 5. We are going to keep that leg lifted high. In 3, take it nice and slow. You have final 2. On the 1, the next time you extend that leg long, can you keep it lifted? I want you to think about just extend and bend. You're here for 10. Keeping that leg nice and high, squeezing into that glute. For 6. We're going to bend that leg back in. Final 5. Last 3. Squeeze for 2. On the 1, can you bend that leg back in? Can you keep that foot flat? Can you pulse that leg up? Squeeze into that glute for 5. Final 4. Last 3. For 2. And on your 1, release as you lower back down. Give those wrists a little roll out if you need to. Release the tension through that upper body. Bringing ourselves down onto the left-hand side of our bodies. Now what I want you to do is bring yourself down onto the left-hand side, and you're going to extend your top arm out nice and long. Now from here, both knees are going to come up in line with the front of the mat. Feet are coming back in line with the bum. Now if you can, kind of let the rest of the body relax down as much as you can, but what I want you to keep an eye on is that your waist is staying slightly lifted up through the mat. So rather than relaxing the entire upper body down, try to keep that waist very slightly lifted up and off through the floor. Now right hand is going to come on the top of our hips, and we're going to go into our clamshells. Again, focusing fully on this right glute. We're going to take a big deep inhale into the nose. As we exhale, we want to think about lifting that right leg away from the left knee, keeping the feet stuck together the entire time. We then lower as we release. Big deep inhale in, exhale, we squeeze, we lift, inhale, we release as we lower. Taking it nice and slow. We lift, we squeeze, we lower as we release. Driving that knee away every single time. Keeping the tension nice and controlled, so rather than swinging the leg up and down, trying to keep the tension as slow as you can. If you want to add on a little challenge, keeping those knees slightly apart the entire time. So as you lower, you keep a slight distance between those knees. Big exhale, you squeeze, you lift. Trying to keep the rest of the body as relaxed as you possibly can. Big deep inhale in. Exhale, we squeeze. Final 5. If this feels good, you're more than welcome to stick here. If you want to add on a little bit more, we're going to think about elevating those feet off the mat, keeping the bottom knee down on the ground. You're going to think about lifting those feet high. Now exactly the same as we done before with that top leg. We squeeze, we lift, we lower, we release. Take it nice and slow. If you need a little breather, you drop those feet back down. Final 10. Squeeze for 6. Last 4. Final 3. We're going to keep that knee high in 2. On the 1, can you keep that knee lifted? Can you give me tiny pulses? Up and down. Squeezing into that right glute as much as you can. We're here for 5. Final 3. Last 2. On the 1, squeeze, hold for 3, for 2, and 1. Relax and lower that leg back down. Give that bum a little release. Lifting yourself up slightly through this left-hand side. So elbow is coming underneath our shoulder. Now from here, we want to keep an eye on that waist again, trying to keep it lifted from the floor. Try not to let yourself slouch into your shoulder. So lifting yourself up nice and high. From here, knees are stem bent. Right hand is going to come onto the hip. You're going to lift the right leg up and off the left. We're going to think about extending the leg long, keeping our foot flexed, so nice flat foot as we drive the leg away. You're going to squeeze the knee back in, then we release, we lower. Big inhale into the nose. Exhale, we lift, we hold. We think about extending the leg long. We bend the leg back in, and then we drop it back down. Taking it nice and slow. We squeeze. We extend. We bend, and we drop. 15 seconds, focusing on that form and that breath, trying to keep the movement as slow and as controlled as you can. All the tension is coming through that right glute. We extend, we bend, and we lower. We're here for final 8. Squeeze, we're going to keep that leg long in 6. Take it nice and slow. You have final 5. Last 3. Squeeze for 2. The next time you lift and extend that leg long, can you hold? Can you keep that heel driving towards the ceiling? Can you give me tiny lifts and lowers? You're going to feel this right through that right glute. It's going to be so burny. Try to keep going if you can. You have 8, 7. For 6, we're going to lower in 5. Squeeze for 4. Final 3. Last 2. On your 1, you bend the knee in, give your glute a little release. Bring yourself round onto your back. Take your time as you come the whole way round. Down onto the back, bringing those knees into the chest, giving that lower back a little release from side to side. From here, we're going to drop the feet down onto the ground, knees facing up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to go into our glute bridges. What we're going to do is place the hands nice and heavy through the mat, and we're going to press those shoulders down into the ground. Walking those feet back as close towards the bum as you can, giving yourself that little bit of support through the ground, so pressing those feet nice and heavy. From here, I want you to think about taking a big deep inhale in through the nose. As we exhale, you want to start to slowly tuck your pubic bone up towards the ceiling, squishing the lower back down into the mat before you squeeze and lift those hips the whole way up. Now keeping that core nice and tight and squeezed in, you're going to squeeze your glutes, big deep inhale in through the nose, and then I want you to think about rolling back down through the spine. So rolling through the upper, the middle, the lower back, touching the tailbone down, you reset and you roll the whole way back up. Taking it nice and slow. We squeeze, we lift, we lower as we release. Focusing on your form rather than rushing the movement, getting used to rolling up through that spine, squeezing those glutes to the top, and then slowly releasing as you lower back down. Taking it nice and slow. We squeeze, we lift, we lower as we release. We're here for final 10 seconds. Now we are going to add on a little bit more. If this feels enough for you, you're more than welcome to stay here if you want to add on a little bit more of a challenge. We are here for final 3, for 2. Now on the 1, the next time you squeeze and hold, I want you to think about holding those hips high. Keeping that core switched on and keeping your balance, can you extend both arms nice and long towards the ceiling? We're going into the exact same with those lift and lowers. Keeping those arms extended long, you lower those hips down, you tap. You squeeze, you lift. We lower. Big exhale, we drive those hips high. Taking it nice and slow, we're going to hold lifted in 10. Squeeze into those glutes for 8. Final 6. Take it nice and slow for 5. We're going to hold the hips high in 3. Final 2. From here, lower those arms back down, pressing your hands into the floor, pressing the shoulders nice and heavy. Can you elevate that right leg into tabletop position? Press all the weight through the left foot. Can you drop the bum down? Tap the tailbone, big exhale, you squeeze. We lower, we tap. Exhale, we squeeze, we lift. We're here for 8. It's heavy through that left heel. If you need to drop the foot down, you can for 6. Taking it nice and slow. Final 5, we're going to go straight onto the opposite side. In 3. Last 2. On your 1, squeeze the hips high, you hold. Drop the right leg down, straight onto the left. Lift the left leg up, you hold. You drop the bum. Squeeze back up. Take it nice and slow. We're here for 8. Squeeze and lift for 6. Final 5. Last 3. We're going to drop the foot down, keep the hips lifted. In 2. On the 1, you squeeze, you lift, you lower that left leg down, keep those hips high. You give me tiny pulses, up and down. Squeezing into those glutes as much as you can. So you lift, you squeeze. You lower, squeeze. Lower, squeeze. Thinking about lowering halfway down, squeezing fast back up. We're here for 10. Tiny pulses for 8. Last 6. Final 5. We are nearly there in 3. Last 2. On the 1, squeeze, and as slow as you can, rolling back down through that spine. Lowering yourself the whole way down to the mat. The minute that tailbone touches, bring those knees in, give yourself a little release. Take your time as you bring yourself the whole way up. We are going to bring ourselves up through a seated position and do the left hand side. So we're going to start by bringing ourselves round onto all fours. Take your time as you come round. We're starting with that left leg kick. Now hands again underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Switching on through that core again, keeping the body nice and strong. From here we are going with that left leg to start. So we're taking a big deep inhale in through the nose, exactly the same as last time. We are squeezing that left leg into that donkey kick position, keep that foot nice and flat. You then lower as you release. So exhale, we squeeze, we lift. Inhale, we lower, back down. Thinking about squeezing into that left glute as you drive that leg nice and high. Using the breath as much as you can, pressing those fingers into the floor, keeping that chest elevated, keeping that core squeezing towards the ceiling. Final 10 seconds. Slowing it down as much as you need. Exhale, you squeeze, you lift. Inhale, you lower, you release. We're here for final 5. Now we are going to add on, if this feels enough, you're more than welcome to stay as you are. In 3, squeeze, you lift. Final 2. Now the next time you lift that left leg high, can you hold? Can you think about elevating that leg long? Bending that leg back in, and then you release. So we squeeze, we lift. Lengthen the leg away from the body. Bend the leg back in, and then you drop. Final 5. Squeeze. We're going to keep that leg lifted. In 3. Final 2. On your 1, you keep that left leg lifted high. We are just lengthening and bending. So we extend the leg long. We bend the leg back in. Final 6. Keep it nice and slow for 5. Squeeze for 4. We're going to bend that leg and pulse it high. In 3. Final 2. On your 1, can you bend that leg back in, keep that foot flat, pulse that leg towards the ceiling. 6, squeeze into that left glute. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release and lower. Drop down onto those elbows, give those wrists a little roll if you need to. Taking your time, you're going to bring yourself down onto the right hand side of your body this time, lying yourself the whole way down on the floor. Both knees are coming in line with the mat. Both feet will be driving back towards the bum. Now keeping the head relaxed down, arms extend nice and long. Keeping that waist lifted very slightly off the floor. Left hand this time is coming to your hip. Now going into those clamshells again, keeping the movement nice and controlled. Big deep inhale into the nose. As we exhale, we think about lifting that top knee away. And as we release, we lower back down. Big exhale, we squeeze into that left glute. Inhale, we lower as we release. Exhale, we lift. Inhale, we relax back down. Keeping it nice and slow, we squeeze, we lift. We lower as we release. Now again, thinking about last time, trying to keep those knees very slightly apart. So as you lower back down, keep that slight distance between the knees before you drive that knee back high. Taking it nice and slow. We're here for final 6. Squeezing into that glute for 5. Last 4. Final 3. Last 2. Now on your 1, if this feels good, you stay here. If you want to add on that challenge, bottom knee is staying stuck to the mat. You lift both feet up and off the floor and back into those clamshells again. It is a little harder when those feet are elevated, so it's entirely up to you. If you want to drop the feet down, you can. We're here for final 10 seconds. Squeezing up into that left glute for 8. Final 6. Take it nice and slow. You have 5. You're going to keep that knee lifted high and pulse. In 3. Final 2. On your 1, keep that knee high. Can you give me tiny lifts and lowers? Squeezing into that left glute for 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release those legs down. Bringing yourself up onto the right hand side of your body. Right elbow is coming underneath our shoulder, knees are staying bent. Left hand can come onto the hip. Now again, thinking about keeping that waist and body lifted up and away from the mat. So rather than slouching into that shoulder, keep yourself elevated nice and high. Thinking about that flame coming from underneath the body, you don't want your body to relax down. So lifting yourself up high on this right hand side. It's exactly the same as last time. We're going to think about elevating that top leg. We're going to extend long away from the body, bend it back in, you lower, you release. So we lift, we hold. Big extension through the leg. Keep that foot flexed, so nice and flat. Remember, you're trying to walk on the wall. Bend the leg back in, then we drop. 15 seconds. You lift, you extend, you bend, you release. Taking it nice and slow. Trying to keep the rest of the body as relaxed as you can and only focus on that leg. So that left glute should be on fire at this point. Trying to keep the knees slightly apart as you bring those knees back together if you can, to add in that little bit more challenge. Final 6. Squeeze for 5. We're going to keep that left leg long this time. In 3. Final 2. Nice and slow and controlled on the 1. You lift, you squeeze, you hold. You extend that left leg long. Remember that heel's driving up towards the ceiling. Can you give me tiny lifts and lowers? 6. Squeeze for 5. Final 4. Last 3. For 2. And on your 1. Bend and release. Give that bum a little release. Take your time, we're going to bring ourselves into our downward dog, so both hands on the ground, extending the legs nice and long, sitting the bum back towards the ceiling. Pedaling out those legs, giving that body a little release from side to side. So just bending one knee as you extend the opposite leg, pressing the hands heavy through the mat, taking it nice and slow. We're just here for 5. Final 3. Last 2. And on your 1, bringing yourself back through stillness, walking those hands towards the back of your mat, letting the body stay stooped over for a little second, feeling that lovely release down the backs of the legs. Take a big deep inhale into the nose, and as you exhale, you lengthen through those legs and start to round up through your spine, keeping the gaze down until the very last second, when you're going to take your big deep inhale in and your slow exhale as you release. Ourselves into a standing position for the last little part of class. Feet are going to be slightly wider than hip distance apart. We're going to turn those toes out, coming into a sumo squat. From here, hands are going to come onto the hips. We're going to think about hinging the hips back as you lower down into your squat position, driving those knees wide. Big deep inhale in, exhale, we squeeze, we lift. Squeezing those glutes to the top. So we lower down. Try to keep those shoulders relaxed away from the ears. We squeeze as we come back up. Big deep inhale into the nose, exhale, we squeeze, we lift. Taking it nice and slow. Really thinking about hinging those hips back. So what you want you to think about is that you're bringing those hips back, so you're sitting yourself down onto a chair, and then you squeeze as you lift. So we lower. Big exhale, we squeeze back up. Taking it nice and slow. Try not to let those knees buckle in towards each other if you can. Try to keep those knees driving out. We're here for final 6. Squeeze into those glutes for 5. Last 4. We're going to add on in 3. Final 2. Now the next time you lower down, can you hold? Can you lift that right heel up? Lower back down. Left heel lifts, lower. Keep going. You stay low, you lift and lower those heels for 10. Squeeze for 8. Final 6. We're going to keep both heels elevated if we can in 3. In 2. On our 1, lift the right heel. Lift the left heel. Can we hold? Tiny pulses. Lift and lower. You can. 5. Squeeze. 4. Press those toes heavy for 3. Final 2. On your 1, release and lower. Well done. Bring yourself to the back of your mat. We're going to lower ourselves down to the floor. Take a big deep inhale in as we lift and extend those arms the whole way up. Flushing those arms down. You're going to tuck your chin towards your chest, and we're going to lower ourselves down. Nice and slow and controlled as you bring yourself the whole way back down. Keeping those legs nice and straight to start. We're then going to bend through those knees. Get the hands a little closer down. If you want a little bit more, bringing the hands onto the elbows, giving yourself a little rock from side to side. Taking your time whenever you're ready, placing the hands back down onto the mat and walking yourself the whole way down. Dropping down onto the knees again. We're just going to relax the feet down on the floor. Just bringing yourself back through center, whatever way is comfortable for you. Both hands are just going to relax on the tops of the knees. Shoulders are going to stay relaxed away from the ears. We're going to think about taking that big deep inhale in as we bring those shoulders the whole way up towards the ears. And that slow exhale out through the mouth as you release and lower. One final time, big deep inhale in, we squeeze, we hold those shoulders up. And as we exhale, we release as we drop. Give yourselves a massive well done. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.